They said she was a disgrace. They said her weight was her punishment, her curse, her burden to bear forever. The whispers followed her in the marketplace, the laughter echoed when she walked past the school, and the pitying looks of her own relatives burned deeper than any wound. But no one, not even she, knew that the same punishment they thought they were handing down would one day become her greatest blessing. Tisa Broken Bar is her story. Her name was Amara. At just 19, she was already worn down by rejection. She had grown up in a household where beauty was currency, and because she did not fit their standards, she was treated as worthless. Her cousins were praised for their slim figures and fair skin, but Amara was mocked for her size. Her family believed marrying her off would be impossible, and when a poor farmer came asking for a wife, not because of love, but because he needed someone to help him with his land, they agreed instantly. Her relatives saw it as punishment, a way to rid themselves of the shame she brought to their name. They told her, "You don't deserve comfort or wealth. A poor farmer's house is where you belong." And so, without ceremony, Amara was sent away to live with a man she had never met, in a village she had never seen. The farmer's name was Harun. At first glance, he seemed ordinary, a man with calloused hands, a face darkened by the sun, and clothes patched from years of wear. His home was a small mud house at the edge of the village. Amara looked around on that first day and thought her family was right up. This was punishment. The days that followed were hard. Amara had never worked in the fields before. The sun scorched her skin, the heavy loads hurt her back, and the villagers laughed at her clumsy attempts. She cried at night, remembering how unwanted she had always been, believing she had only been exchanged from one prison to another. But Harun was different from what she expected. He did not shout at her when she failed to carry water, nor did he mock her when she stumbled. Instead, he quietly helped her stand again, or finished the work she could not complete. His words were few, but his eyes carried a gentleness she had never known. He noticed how her family's cruelty still haunted her, and though he never said it outright, he gave her space to heal. One evening, after a long day, Harun brought her a plate of food and said something that struck her. "You are not a burden, Amara. You are a person, and people deserve kindness." That night, Amara wept not from pain, but from the shock of hearing words she had never been told before. As weeks turned to months, Amara began to change. She worked hard, not because she was forced, but because she wanted to stand beside this man who treated her with dignity. Her hands grew strong, her face brighter, her heart steadier. The villagers noticed too. The girl they once mocked now walked with confidence. She was still larger than others, but now she carried herself with pride. Then, one day, Amara stumbled upon Harun speaking with a group of men in the fields. She overheard them talking about harvests, trade routes, and land boundary asset details too complex for a poor farmer. Confused, she later asked him about it. Harun finally revealed the truth. He was not poor at all. What Amara never knew was that Harun had inherited vast lands, thousands of acres spread across different regions, but he had chosen to live simply, away from greedy relatives and false friends, working the soil with his own hands. His patched clothes and humble home were not signs of poverty, they were his choice. Amara's heart raced. For the first time, she realized that the man she thought was her punishment was actually a blessing in disguise. She asked him why he never told her. He smiled and said, "I needed someone who would see me as a man, not as wealth. And I wanted to see you as a soul, not as what others called you." Together, we are free from their cruelty. Tears rolled down Amara's cheeks. All her life she had been treated like a curse, unwanted and discarded. Yet here she was, chosen not because of her looks, not because of her weight, but because of her heart. Over time, Amara grew into her role, not just as a wife, but as Harun's equal. They expanded the farms, offered work to villagers who were struggling, and provided food to widows and orphans. The same people who once mocked her now looked at her with respect, even admiration. She became known as the Lady of the Fields, a woman whose strength and kindness touched everyone she met. But what mattered most was what she found within herself: self-worth. She no longer saw her body as punishment. She no longer listened to the voices that told her she was not enough. She had discovered love, dignity, and the truth that real beauty is not in how one looks, but in how one lives. Years later, When Amara walked through the same marketplace that once echoed with laughter at her expense, the whispers had changed. Children ran to greet her, women came to her for advice, and men lowered their heads in respect. She was no longer the girl who had been given away. She was a woman who had built a life worth honoring. And so, the punishment that was meant to break her became her path to freedom. The lesson her story leaves behind is simple yet powerful: never let others define your worth. Sometimes, life places you in situations that feel unfair, even cruel, but hidden within them may be the very key to your destiny. Amara's journey proves that love, respect, and self-belief can transform even the harshest beginning into a beautiful ending. Obese. And so, if you are watching this right now, remember this: the world may try to label you, shame you, or cast you aside, but like Amara, your worth is not for others to decide. One day, your punishment might just turn out to be your greatest blessing.